Hi friends, I am Rohan Roy. Welcome to our channel. Today we are going to talk about function expressions in JavaScript. So without any delay, let's get to it. We first need to understand a few things before we discuss function expressions. An expression is a valid unit of code that can be evaluated into a value. The resultant value can then be assigned to a variable or used in another expression or passed as an argument when calling a function. So in summation, a piece of code that can be evaluated and then be assigned. A function in general is declared by using a function keyword with a name along with some parameters inside parenthesis followed by a function body that is inside curly braces. A function can then be called by using its name along with some arguments inside parenthesis. I go in depth into JS functions in my intro to functions video. You can find the link in the description or in the info card. Next, let's talk about anonymous function. This is a special kind of function which is declared without a name using function keyword. Anonymous functions are useful in several scenarios, including as callbacks, for passing functions as arguments, for immediately invoked function expressions, and for creating closures, which I think is the most common use case. By the way, if you create an anonymous function but do not call it, then it will throw a syntax error. Now we are ready to talk about what a function expression is. If we assign an anonymous function to a variable or an object property, then this piece of code is referred to as the function expression. Now, what happens if instead of assigning a variable with an anonymous function, we instead assign it a function with a name? This is called a named function expression. We can also refer to an anonymous function or a named function that is called immediately as a function expression. This is called immediately invoked function expression. What is hoisting in JavaScript? When the JavaScript interpreter encounters a function or a variable declaration, it sets aside memory for that declaration, even if it appears in the middle of the code. This allows the declaration to be accessible anywhere from within its scope, including before it is actually declared. So the functions declared within a scope are hoisted to the top of their scope and can be used before they are even declared in the code. By the way, variables declared with var keyword are hoisted to the top of their scope. If you try to access it before it is assigned, then it will not throw a reference error. It will instead give you undefined. Please hit the like button if you are enjoying the video. I am assuming you are enjoying the video. It would be very helpful for me. Differences between function declaration and function expression. Hoisting. Function declarations are hoisted whereas function expressions are not and are only available after they have been defined and assigned to a variable. Named versus anonymous. Function declarations must have a name while function expressions can be anonymous or named. Conditional functions. Function expression can be used to create different functions for different conditions, whereas function declaration must have a single function definition. Usage. Function declarations are often used for named functions that needs to be called from multiple places in our code, while function expressions are often used as arguments for other functions or as anonymous functions assigned to a variable. Why is it that a function expression is not hoisted? Why does it need to be assigned to a variable first to use it? Okay, let's declare a function with a name and a body, but put it inside parentheses. This function declaration immediately becomes a value, and any value or expression is not hoisted by JS interpreter. Not only that, the current scope has no way to access it without assigning it to a variable. That is why even though it is a named function expression, if we try to run it using its name, it will throw reference error. Differences between anonymous function expression and named function expression. Referencing. Named function expressions can be referenced from within the function body. For example, recursion. While anonymous function expressions cannot be referenced within the body directly. You can still do it with arguments.callee, but it's a bit counterintuitive. Debugging. Named function expressions are easier to debug since its name shows up in the stack trace. Usage. Anonymous function expressions are most often used as callbacks or immediately invoked function expression, whereas named function expressions are most often used not only to avoid hoisting but also to leverage recursion. Differences between defining a function and then calling it elsewhere versus immediately invoked function expressions. The former can serve various purposes, for example, reusability, modularity, callbacks, more readable code, etc. whereas immediately invoked function expressions serves a very specific purpose: avoid hoisting, creating a new scope, avoid variable collisions, and maintain the privacy of variables and functions within its scope, but simultaneously access the outer scopes. To summarize, in this discussion, we cover the concepts of expressions and functions in JavaScript, including various types of function expressions like anonymous, named, and immediately invoked function expressions. We also delve into hoisting, which is a behavior in JavaScript where function and variable declarations are moved to the top of their respective scopes during its execution. We discuss the differences between function declaration and function expressions and why function expressions are not hoisted in the same way. Finally, we compare defining functions and then using them to immediately invoked function expressions. Please consider subscribing if you enjoy this type of content and want to see more videos like this. If you want to take a deep dive into JavaScript functions, you should check out this video. I will see you in the next one. Have a nice day. Namaskar.